Okay, good morning and welcome to this workshop on using Brightspace and Panop to enhance learning for students. My name is Brenda Bailey from MassArt and I'll be your moderator for this session. Just a few housekeeping items before we begin. A reminder that this meeting is being recorded, so please keep your mics muted until you're ready to speak to help eliminate any background noise. I've also enabled live transcription, so if you have the latest version of Zoom, then you should be able to see this at the bottom of your screen. And if you'd like to hide this feature, you can click on the arrow next to the CC icon at the bottom and hide the subtitles. If you're not seeing anything, then you likely have an older version of Zoom and should be able to access this feature when you update your Zoom account. That being said, please welcome our presenter from Wentworth, Sharon Brown, Assistant Professor of Construction Management.
Hello, everyone. Well, thanks for making time to see this little presentation. I hope it's valuable, because I know most of us, it's mid-semester, we're all really busy. Can everyone see my PowerPoint? Make sure. Okay, great. So, we've all had challenges this year with remote teaching, and so I thought about those challenges, thought about some of the things that, some of the solutions we've all trial and error, and this is one that's kind of worked for me, so I thought I'd share a little bit. So what I saw as the challenge was, there's the level of attention and engagement with students is very different. I can't look across this, I don't have the same sense when I look across the classroom, are you getting it or not? It's just really hard when you see 40 faces on the screen, and you can't judge that anymore. Students' attention span, if their attention span wasn't small before, it's definitely dropped. They're not taking the research says you have to take breaks in between. They're going to class to class to class. And honestly, 10 minutes between class doesn't give them an opportunity to go outside and rest. So they're on Zoom 6, 8, 9 hours. So are we, it's exhausting. We used to I would like to go back to the days when we'd complain about their surfing the web on their laptop, right? Now they're at home, they've got their phone, their laptop, their mom's bringing them lunch. I mean, there's so many distractions. I would like to go back to just the laptop. And we all are experiencing what I call Groundhog Day syndrome. There's a lack of motivation. What's today? Is it Thursday? Is it Sunday? It all seems the same. So they are just not motivated to get up, challenge. So that's all, if we were challenged to motivate them before, and now it almost seems hopeless. So, what I'll focus on mostly today is students are asking the same questions in office hours. And we were talking about in Professor Cosma's presentation earlier with Professor Bakshi that they're asking the same questions in labs too. And because they're in breakout rooms, we're not sharing that information to them. And so we're having the same conversations over and over. And I'm sure I'm not the only one where 3 office hours, which is, kind of the technical, is kind of comical. And we're doing 8, 10, 16 hours of office hours a week because we can't service our students in this environment. And of course, being in CM, technical material builds, right? So once you start losing it, the students become very frustrated very quickly, and then you see them not coming to class, dropping out. You're seeing your A students are suddenly D students, and again, that becomes frustrating. The other thing, I don't know if you guys are experiencing this at the other universities, but the loss of the library has been so difficult for the students. The library offered our students more than books, right? It wasn't just going there to study. That's where I'm a strong proponent that students learn a little bit from me and a lot from each other. And so they go to those libraries, they exchange ideas. I didn't really get that assignment that Professor Bakshi said, what are you doing today? What are we supposed to do? And they learn that, and they don't have that anymore. And that's been devastating for our students. Technical difficulties for all of us. It becomes comical at times, the Zoom drops out, the students drop out, the Wi-Fi. I mean, I didn't charge my iPad, enough, and now it's dying. I mean, the technical difficulties go on and on and on, right? And I don't know about you, you just kind of have to laugh and move on and come up with a new plan, because if not, it just becomes very frustrating. And then again, no hearing, overhearing other discussions. We can't hear in lab what the students are, they can't hear what we're talking about with other students in lab, and we can't hear about what they're talking about. So just that natural environment of a classroom and sitting is just, that's a huge loss. So that's, what I've been thinking about is some of the challenges. And so what are some of the strategies, that would help with these challenges? How can we provide additional learning opportunities, additional activities? How can we further break down that technical material to enhance their learning? Smaller time intervals, right? That no students, professor, can you record our lecture? There's no students going to go back and listen to an hour-and-a-half lecture. Come on, you can barely keep their attention for the first time around. They're not going back and listening to that. Accessibility time, their timetable is not ours. I'm up at 6 o'clock in the morning, but let me tell you, I'm in bed at 9 p.m. They're up at noon and in bed at 2 a.m. So we don't live in the same world virtually, right? So, how can we make it more accessible to them? And so one of the solutions that I started to do, Professor Bakshi and I have done it for our advanced estimating. I've done it for Revit, and I've done it for building systems, which is about mechanical, electrical, plumbing. So mini lessons using Panopto and putting them up on Brightspace. So what is that? So I break down the content into mini steps. And the videos can't be more than like 5 minutes. 3 to 5 minutes is what a student can handle. A 10-minute, 15-minute video, they're not going to watch the whole thing. They're going to skip, they're going to go through. But if you can break these lessons down into 3 to 5 minutes, they can go back and review that material. The other beauty of that is a lot of what we're doing with technical material is they might understand this part, but not that part. So they can watch that 3 to 5 minute video a couple of times to understand that particular part. So I have, let me just show you quickly some of what I'm talking about. What's a mini lesson, Professor Brown? So here I have, so in my, you guys are seeing the screen, right? So I've been teaching in person. I've lost my whole Zoom like mojo, right? So one of the classes I teach is building systems, and one of the things we teach them about is sizing water piping. And it's a tough material. So if you go to my Brightspace, which is what we're using at Wentworth for as our platform, we've left Blackboard. You'll see I have this Panopto link, and steps 1, steps 2 through 8, steps 9 through 10. We talk to them about these different steps too. They have a handout with the different steps you go through to size the water piping. So to them, the step 1, step 2 means something to them. And so if you click on this link for step 9, here it is. And share. For some reason, my sound's not working here. Share stuff. Because the rules are for flushometer valves, we need 1 inch. So this 1 inch feeds into here. We have 70 plus the 20, which gives us 90. So we can still stay into that 1.5 inch for this branch. So now we know the minimum for the closets is 1 inch. So this branch is feeding into
And you guys aren't
here.
hearing the sound, are you?
But now we've added another 15.
Are you hearing the sound?
We are, Sharon. I think we might be
So we're
hearing
at
it through your
105.
He's
So we
still
can
trying to
remain at the
hook up
1.5
to the
inch
restaurant
branch.
in the lab.
And
But
then we have this water closet here feeding in
Let's see if
at 1.5 inches. I mean, at 1 inch, and it's 10.
there we go. So
And
these quick
we
videos,
are at 100.
so they can go and they look at these videos. They can look at it 5 or 6 times. You know, if you look, you know, and this is like a 3.5-minute videos on how to do step 9 if that's what they're having difficulty with. So there were also challenges with Panopto. I had done a bunch of, and some of you may have experienced this, I had done some videos initially in Blackboard. And if I recorded my Panopto videos in Blackboard, I could share my folder across classes. So I could share them, you know, with Hari, who I'm teaching, co-teaching Revit and plan reading with. I could share my videos with Payam, who, you know, I was teaching advanced estimating, but Brightspace didn't allow me to share those folders. So I had to figure out, how do I do that in Brightspace? So I came up with 2 different solutions. One is content folders, and I'll show you that. And another one is widgets. So if you, if I look at my building systems course here, these are widgets. So it can be, the videos could be on the home page. They can go right to them. This is the first thing they see. They click on these, they go right to the video. Another way to show it is just in a content folder. So just, you know, as you set up your Brightspace, if you look down here, that's my video on the drawing fundamentals when we do the concrete block. If you look at Revit, I've created, you know, them in a folder just for the project. So we have a big project where they at the end of the semester, they have to draw in Revit a building. And again, Professor Bakshi and Hari can tell you, it's endless office hours, right? Professor, how do I do a door? Professor, how do I do a wall? Professor, how do I do column grids? And it's the same thing over and over and over again. So for the project, I created all these 3 to 5 minute videos on how to do all that stuff. Create levels, create grids, basement. And on top of that, I broke the project out in 3 weeks. So week 1, this is what you should complete, and this is how you do it. Week 2, this is what you should complete, and this is how you do it. And week 3, this is what you should complete, and this is how you do it. So not only giving them the structure, but break it down in a way in these little mini lessons. And so it's not so frustrating, and they can actually accomplish the goal. And then, so now that I've done this, because we're such a large department, every course is, you know, 4 or 5 sections. Sometimes, I don't know how many we have with plan reading, 8. And so now I've done this and I can share it with my colleagues. And so we can spend more time on not answering the same question all together, but really digging in deeper with the students. Because again, we're just out of time right now with students because they need so much more. So if you, so that's 2 ways I've done it. And I want to show you, this is how, and I can make this little PowerPoint available, I'm sure, however we need to with my moderator. So the first thing is, how do I create content folders? How do I set it up in Brightspace? So I'll show you here, but then I'll show you, here's how you do it. So create a link in Brightspace. You just set up your module, you say create a link, you copy that link from Panopto. So let me show you that. So if I was going to, let me, a second. I'm going into another course real quick. Trying to find a course where I haven't already copied these. All right, so let's say, here's another one of my classes. I'm just going to create, a new module, and I'll call it the Revit project. And, just like anything else, as we're creating folders so I can say upload, create. So I'm going to create a link. And we'll call this grids. And I go to Panopto, where my videos live. And Panopto asks you, do you want your videos from Brightspace or do you want from Blackboard? So if you already created videos in Blackboard, that's where you go to get them, because that took me a while to figure out. Like, I'd already created stuff in Blackboard. How do I get it over to Brightspace? So when you log into Panopto, you can go into Blackboard, the Blackboard section of Panopto, and that's where you would find them. Am I telling you guys something you already know? Just, I don't want to, okay. So, here's one of my folders for one course, and here's the other course. So I think I said create grids, right? So if I'm going to create grids, I go to look and see, again, it's a 3-minute video. And I say, if I click on the share button, it gives me a link to embed. So I copy that link. I go back to my course, okay, for grids. I just paste that link in. And there it is, okay? And so now,
in the last video, we showed you how to set up your levels. Now we're going to set up our grids. We're going to use sheet A2.1 to set up.
So it's right there, okay? So I think, for me, depending on the class, I like to put the content in different ways. So for the project, I have this whole different module for project. But when I set up building systems, I wanted to have this quick link on the sidebar for my Panopto videos, because it was more information. They were going to reference more throughout the semester in lab. So I didn't really embed it in a content folder. So to do this, again, I put it in the PowerPoint so you have some notes to go back to. So when you want to, you create the widgets and you create a custom widget just for Panopto. And, I'm not an IT person. So, a widget is basically a little button, right? That you can click. And then again, we can add all of our links from Panopto. And thanks to Professor Badamosi, she showed me that we can actually customize the home screen to put in these links. So I'll show you how to do that. If you guys have questions, please just yell out.
Sharon, I had a quick question, not to interrupt your flow, or as you like to say, your mojo on there. You're quite adept at navigating between the two platforms. Would you say it was a pretty quick learning curve, as well as I love how it really seems to be a wonderful partnership between various different professors, learning best practices, problem solving. Just curious to know how easy, how hard was it to make this jump?
I think, LIT has, nothing happens, in a vacuum. LIT has worked very hard, in supporting us, and them allowing us to have little one-on-ones has been, a great opportunity to learn. I have never worked in a job where I liked every single person I work with. And our CM department, I think everyone has the same feeling, like we really like each other, enjoy each other. And we really work well and collaborate with each other. And so there's a comfort level with that. When I know some person might be better than that. And so I call them and they spend the time with me, or I call. So, it's a combination. It's a combination of the culture in our department. It's a combination of the commitment to LIT and the relationship we have with them. So, am I the most, I wouldn't say, I'm completely lost when it comes to technology. I would say I'm kind of average, and, with our department in our line of work, the technology is always changing. We're always having to learn something different. I had to teach myself Sage last summer. We had to teach ourselves Brightspace, Panopto. So I am able to kind of self-learn, but I don't think I'm, above average by any means.
You look rather adept to me, so I think you're selling yourself short. So, but thank you for the context.
But I also get a lot of support from LIT, and we support each other in our department. Hari and I were sharing some stuff just yesterday afternoon. He's doing some amazing stuff. I would encourage you guys to see his presentation. We just share.
No, this is great. I think my own thesis on all this is learning today, and most definitely learning the future, is really, it's more like, professor as executive producer. In a sense, there's a lot of moving parts, and it's really a coordinated, almost theatrical production of cue the lighting, cue everything else. And so whether it be instructional designers to colleagues, I think the model of the one-room schoolhouse with the sage on the stage in the front is a bygone era.
I don't know. I want to be in the classroom. I love teaching in person. I'm glad I'm back.
Oh, I didn't mean it that way. I meant I want to fall back in the classroom too. But I meant to your point that it's a team effort, in a sense that whatever the medium is, that it's no longer a solo professor doing a solo act, is maybe another way to frame it. No, I think what's so exciting about what you and your CM colleagues are doing is that and you're spot on in the learning science, these 3 to 5 minute modules, these are the things that will endure and change the way learning happens at Wentworth and across the colleges of the Fenway on there. What can we best do in each medium to promote learning is my own philosophy. And Sharon, you and others on the call are embodying that. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, so again, this might be, you know, the content is a little bit easier to do, you know, setting it up there. But like I said, in some courses, I didn't feel like it was enough or didn't work well. You know, I created these sidebars, and so a lot of screens going here. I'm trying to minimize some stuff here. So you know, the first thing I do, you know, you could, you know, set up a little bit different, but you know, I kind of navigate from course admin. We can, you know, navigate different ways, but I'm gonna kind of stick here. And in here, right at the top, it says widgets. And so if you go into the widget module, then you can create a widget. You create a widget, you give it a name, etc. And then you add the content. I had already added one in this one. Maybe I should, you know, and so then it shows up here. So let me go to a class again. Hari, do you mind if I create it in your section?
Sure, yeah.
So some of us share some things, and I've created them in so many sections. I think I'm out of sections to create it in my own. So if we go to course admin, widgets, you can see he doesn't have one as a custom for Panopto. So I create widget. You can call it whatever. I'm just going to call it Panopto. And then it says, what kind of content do you want to add? So I'm going to go back over here. And, you know, creating levels. I'm going to copy this link. Find the one I was in. And then I'm going to use this, content insert link, put it in, and then it asks me what the text is, and I'm going to say levels. And you can see now the level, there's a level, the words level, not that long link. And I can keep doing that. So again, I can go back to my Panopto, share, copy. Oops, where is it? Insert link. Put in my URL. I'm going to call this one grids. And I would just keep going and going until, you know, I had all my what I call steps. So now I've created this custom widget. I've added those links. If I want it on my home page, you know, this is the standard Wentworth homepage and how it's set up. And Hari, I can undo all this. It's beautiful. Look how he's done a great job. I love how he has his pictures in there. So if I had course admin and I go to home pages, I can say here's the standard home pages. You can choose different ones. So I'm going to say create home page. Actually, I actually want to do, you can create one, but sometimes it's just easier to copy. So I'm going to copy this one, the standard one. I'm going to rename it. Course homepage, Panopto. And then I'm going to add a widget here. And the widget I'm going to add is my Panopto widget. Where'd it go? you have to go to custom because that's where we created it. I choose that Panopto widget. I like it above the calendar because the calendar is really long. Save and close. And then I'm going to make my Panopto. And now when I go to this class, you'll see my new Panopto videos right here on the link. Then I can choose them and it will take me directly to my videos.
Project, you'll have to start a new project.
How am I doing on time? So the last thing I'll show you, and then you can ask some questions, is, you know, I didn't really talk to you about creating a Panopto video. It's super easy. I've put a link on my PowerPoint, which hopefully Brenda will show me how to do that to get it out to you guys if you want it. I don't think I'm sharing in my share screen, share one. You know, to create a, you can just create a video, you just pick the icon that says, actually, I want to do the other one. Let's do the other one. The other thing I like about, it's probably open somewhere else. I don't see it. You seeing the Panopto screen now? One of the things I like about creating in Panopto is we all have all these different screens. And when you pause, it pauses very smoothly. So as I'm recording something, in Revit, and I'm talking about how to do it, and then I want to pull up the drawings, it's easy for me to pause it, pull up those drawings, get them set up and zoomed in where I need it to be, restart, and then it becomes very smooth. So, you can just name it, whatever you'd want to name it. I'm just going to call this test. It'll ask you, you want to capture the audio. Do you want it to capture your PowerPoint? Do you want to capture the main screen and the second screen? Do you want your face on it, not on it? Because maybe you put your face on one and that'll show up on one side and then the second screen on the other. I would just get my 10 minutes warning. That's, another way to, so if I, where's my PowerPoint here? Move it so I can show you. So when I turn it on, I'm seeing, my PowerPoint on one screen, and then I'm seeing what I'm presenting right there on the Panopto. Go back to, okay, and then I can pause. I can resume and go back and forth. I like that it shows that it has the little highlighter so I can talk about things as I go along. So, my plan was to, talk you to death and then give you like 5-10 minutes to ask questions. Do you guys have any questions? Do you think it's useful, not useful? Has anyone else been doing it?
Sharon, thank you very much for sharing experience. It was definitely good to see how you have been engaging those capabilities of Panopto as well as Brightspace. One question that I have, I really like the idea of those mini videos. Have you been tracking how many students have been watching this? Because you pointed out, I doubt that the students would have enough time to go back and review the entire lecture of 2 hours or something, but those mini videos can be accessed very easily, quickly for different purposes as they're working on a project or assignment or whatever. Have you been tracking the statistics?
Well, I think it does track it automatically. I know I've looked at it in the past, like especially with those Revit videos with the project, you know how much trouble they have with. Pretty much every student watches those. Probably half of my students watch the videos for the sizing the water pipe. And I think probably about half of them did it with, the Sage videos I did this summer, and I was just learning. I'm probably going to redo those again this summer for us, because those worksheets we were using weren't great. But I'd like to do that again this summer, because you know how the Sage goes. There's so many questions about that too. So
I'm glad that you're gonna redo them, because perhaps we're gonna use a new version of Sage. So that's good.
Are you think that's gonna happen? That would be fantastic. But yeah,
yes.
Well, I found the instruction sheets we used directly from the manufacturer weren't great. So I think try to customize it a little bit more for our particular database, right?
Absolutely. Thank you, Sharon.
Thanks. Anyone else?
Thanks, Sharon. I think I'm gonna learn this. I mean, I never used Panopto before because I use a different one. It's called some kind of a screen capture. That's what I was using. But this is really good. I'm gonna use it for my summer course on concrete. At least like little 5 minutes or 10 minutes video on problem solvings, not on lectures, of course, but when they have like questions on 16 different steps of problems, obviously they're going to be like confused. So this is going to be really useful. Thanks for this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hanging out in the BIM lab every Monday, Wednesday, so come see me. We can work on it together. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah.
How about you, Lauren? Do you feel like it would help with math, or?
So I've been holding I've been holding longer lectures and putting song breaks in the middle, or at least that's what I was doing in the fall, to try to break things up instead. I think we are working towards trying to get more of the students working together in the classroom in those groups, and just sort of weathering it out until we get back into the classroom to some extent. So I mean, I definitely agree that doing shorter bits of lecture makes sense for the attention span side of things, and certainly for specific calculations or specific concepts and things you could do that. For lower level classes, there's a lot that's out there already. And sometimes they're already seeking that out. So I think the approach I've been trying to look at more so is making sure that we're parsing and putting together connections between what's out there, and or presenting those pieces in such a way that they're making more connections than they would just by watching a bunch of smaller pieces, if that makes sense.
And I've done the same thing with some of the, again, with Revit, some of the LinkedIn videos on things that are just standard.
Yeah.
But then, our project is very customized. So I wouldn't do a video on something, just how to enter any door, but they have a particular building they have to build. And so, it's about that particular building.
So anyway, I'm not sure. Yeah. Anyway, I did make the transition to Brightspace this semester. I think the students are still struggling with the fact that some of their classes are using Brightspace and some are using Blackboard still.
And we're all struggling with Brightspace, every day I have to try to figure out something, I think what Ian was saying was kind of funny because I had figured out these videos, but the grade book was making me crazy for a while. Like I couldn't get my grades in.
Yeah. So I haven't made any videos through Panopto yet, but I have been recording my Zoom sessions and getting them ported over to Panopto.
Okay.
But again, I haven't been splitting them into smaller pieces. And so I think there are maybe a couple of students who are visiting those more dedicatedly and most of them that are just not.
Right.
Because they're longer and because maybe some of them don't realize they exist and issues. So
great.
Yeah.
Brenda, do you want the PowerPoint for any reason?
So I'm going to find out with Allison and the COF after how they're going to share this information, because I'm sure people have additional materials or supplemental materials for their presentations that maybe they'll find a way to compile together and package nicely for everyone to access later.
Some of this overlaps too. Some of, like what I was talking about, the problems. Christina had a great presentation earlier about it. And then Hari's going to do into virtual reality, and kind of it all links together a little bit. Okay. Well, I appreciate all of your time. I know it, like I said, we're all very busy, and so to take in 45 minutes is fantastic.
And thank you, Sharon, your enthusiasm and energy. If that's not motivation enough for your students, like I appreciated it, because I definitely didn't have enough coffee this morning and you perked me up, so thank you.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm remembering now that I boiled water for tea and then completely forgot to make tea.
Groundhog Day, right?
Yeah,
thank you, Sharon, and thank you all. I have to jump off. Bye now.
All right, thanks, Pam. Appreciate you coming.
Thank you, everyone. And I'm sure the COF will follow up with you, Sharon, and let you know what's happening.
Okay, great.
Not them, I will.
All right. Well, I think Kari's presenting next. I'm going to get to his. Like I said, if you guys haven't seen it, he's doing VR. It's going to be
cool. Great. Yeah. Well, nice to meet you.
All right. You too. Bye. Nice meeting you, Lauren. Hopefully we'll see you on campus.